Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Arun Singh Thakur from University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today we are going to discuss about the module Urban Tourism from the paper Special Interest Tourism. After completing this module, students, you will be able to understand the definition of urban tourism, understand the various products and attractions in urban tourism, identify the various factors for increasing destination competitiveness. Then you will be able to understand the various trends in urban tourism. So, students, let us proceed. According to the classics, the city is material, social, and political. That is to say, it is the most sophisticated cultural product for civilized coexistence. The city is a part of our culture, our history. It's the epicenter for many of our traditions. We all live in, work in cities, and yet visit other cities during our free time. As society in constant change, so are cities trying to adapt and meet the needs of the residents and visitors, as well as making it an attractive destination for future visitors. This is a unique economic and social opportunity. It brings dynamism and vitality, growth and development, and becomes an important element in people's life. The growth of the city and the ultimate goal of urban planning should be logical response to the needs of its residents in order to increase their quality of life, well-being, environmental quality, and cultural identity. Cities are constantly changing. They are built, transformed, and continuously growing. We must remember that as early as 2500 years ago, Plato stated in the Republic that any city, however small, is in fact divided into two, one city of the poor and other city of the rich. But cities can also help to reduce transaction cost such as the infrastructure and services. They behave like social networks, providing information and facilitating the diffusion of knowledge. Now we'll try to understand what is called as urban tourism. Urban tourism is a term describing multiple tourist activities in which city is the main destination and place of interest. Cities were always purpose of many journeys and trips, although it became more popular phenomena since the 1950s. Tourism within the cities is strongly connected with their growth and technological development as well. Urban tourism has, in one form or the other, been with us since the Mesopotamia and Sumeria were spanning the phenomena of urbanization. People with the means and inclination to do so have been drawn to towns and cities just to visit and experience a multiplicity of things to see and do. These towns and cities were the melting pots of national culture, art, music, literature, and of course, magnificent architecture and urban design. It was the concentration, variety, and quality of these activities and attributes that created their attraction and put certain towns and cities on the tourism map. United Nations World Tourism Organization refers to urban tourism as the trips taken by the travelers to the cities or places of high population density. The duration of these trips is usually short and 1 to 3 days. Therefore, it can be said that urban tourism is closely linked to the short break market. Next, we will discuss the urban tourism products and attractions. Urban tourism has always been a daunting task for both the public and the private sector. Its a multifunctional nature makes it complicated to plan and manage. Metropolitan areas are quickly growing and new issues and challenges are emerging. In the early 20th century, the cities started to be aware of themselves as tourist attractions. Those reacted to this phenomena enjoyed an economic boost by the activities they provided to the visitors. Tourism in United States, for example, grew rapidly. All major cities attracted tourism and this meant a change in the way people not only lived but also perceived cities. The birth of low-cost airlines has also brought an increased interest in the cities and their development. In terms of tourism, cities appeal to a broader market, they are easy to reach and they have a lot to offer. This also brings a new spending pattern that can go from those staying in the budget hotels to the five-star hotel customer, but all have one thing in mind, they want to discover and visit other cities. Cities need to assess their products and understand which of their products offerings appeal to the market. A city can offer variety of products or services to the tourist. That is a specific location, a particular place which can be a museum, cultural, religious, entertainment, city services or even specific city infrastructure development projects such as transport, building, architecture, sports and events, festivals and events can be offered. Few of the important urban tourism products and services offered by the cities are sightseeing, leisure, shopping, visiting friends and families, then religion, business venues, then participation in congresses, conferences, etc. Then comes entertainment for the events and the clubs, then transport facilities. All the activities listed before are included in terms of in the city tourism. However, they are not always identified as urban tourism and could be part of other types of tourism, for example, religious or cultural. The growth of tourism in the cities is connected with the main attributes of the cities such as the number and diversity of the attractions, the proximity to the other attractions within the city and nearby, then the level of the transport, quality and size of the accommodation available, then comes the effectiveness of the marketing and promotions done. So, it can be said that typical urban tourism attractions include historical monuments, ancient statues, unique street patterns, then museums, art galleries, cinema, concert venues, concert halls and theaters. Then comes convention centers and conference centers. Then also the nightclubs, bar, dance clubs, casinos, cafes and restaurants, shopping centers, fashion shows. Then comes sports facilities, amusement facilities, then organized events and parks, green areas and botanical gardens also. Further, we will discuss the effects of urban tourism. Over the past 6 decades, the tourism has experienced continued expansion and diversification, becoming one of the largest and fastest growing economic sector in the world. Today, more than half the world population is urban. According to the United Nations, the world's urban population is expected to grow by 61% by the year 2030. The volume of the people living in the cities will rise to 5 billion by 2030 and this will have a considerable impact on the urban tourism as a key factor not only in the city development but also in its economy. Urban tourists can bring substantial economic benefit to the cities. It is a fact that the economic impact on any major city dominates over the social and political impact, and this may well be a consequence of the need to quantify the return of every investment, especially in terms of the employment and economic impact. The tourism brings new patterns and changes to the urban landscape, such as globalization, a phenomena that impacts not only the big cities but also the medium and the small ones. Its impact is best recognized in the hospitality sector, where hotel rooms and restaurants are exactly the same in London, Paris, Hong Kong, or New York. Cities are constantly growing and in a constant state of the change to provide its visitors the experiences and the products they expect, and these products and experiences are also constantly changing in order to adapt to an increasing demand. All this triggers a constant investment in infrastructure, promotion, and conservation, ultimately benefiting tourists and local residents. Dynamic development of urban tourism is source of employment and growing incomes in the urban areas, as well as cause of cultural and social growth. However, it is also brings the negative effects such as air pollution, noise, and decreased availability of the city center and attraction important to local inhabitants. Few key points to ponder upon include: the urban tourism brings vitality and dynamism to the cities, but it also brings new patterns and changes to their urban landscape. It connects people, create relationships, and it teaches them how to live in close proximity to one another. Tourism is one of the main pillars and economic drivers of many countries. It plays an important role in terms of employment, income, and maintenance of urban infrastructure and public services. Urban tourism has triggered a more competitive approach, and destinations are focusing on their product offering and becoming more specialized in order to stay ahead and change together with the city. The tourism industry has to implement innovative strategies to provide the city with a consistent image and therefore provide significant revenue and added value to its residents. For this, there is a clear opportunity to continue the discussion of this subject and focus on the challenges that cities in different regions around the world have to face, such as how to manage the increasing number of the tourists arriving to the cities in a responsible and sustainable manner. Then, how to use urban tourism to improve the quality of the life of the local population. Then comes, how can we make sure that tourism action plans and the city development are the part of the decision making process. How can we incorporate available information and communication technologies to develop smart cities that are more competitive, sustainable, and accessible to the human beings? How to measure the economic impact of the tourism for the cities? Then, how can cities take practical steps to reduce impact on the environment and promote the benefits of greener tourism? Then comes making destinations more competitive. Destinations contain a number of basic elements which attract the visitor to the destination and which satisfy their needs upon arrival. The provision and quality of these elements will be influential in the visitor's decision to make their trip. Today, effectively managing a tourism destination with the central objective of improving its competitiveness and the quality of life of its citizens also means managing the complexity of the economic, social, and environmental climate of the world in which we live, where uncertainty and threats are constantly present. Otherwise, we can make a long-term policies and ensure prosperity for tourism destinations without taking into account, for example, climate change or the scarcity of the resources. A look at the evolution of the national tourism destinations over the last 60 years presents us with some obvious conclusions, which are: today all the destinations compete in the demanding global market. That market is flattening out. At its peak in 1950, the top 5 most visited countries in the world took 71% of the total market share. By 2011, the top 5 accounted only for 31%. Tourists are traveling more and more to the remote destinations than ever before, making the social and economic impact of their visits felt on a much wider scale. This increasingly complex and competitive environment for tourism destinations increases the need for them to diversify and to stand out. The truth is that the future is already here, and as a result of the economic and financial crisis that much of the world is suffering from, we are on the threshold of significant changes in values, attitudes, and ways of living, as well as in social structures themselves. As a result of the well known major trends in the world of tourism, new ways of doing things and new products will come to fruition of over the course of this decade, many of which we can't even imagine right now. Today, new trends in the destination development can be observed having the following main factors. Those are experiential or emotional elements which will continue to give way to new, more affordable and accessible forms of enjoyment that will focus on human and interrelation dimension of the human race. Then the focus on enjoyment will displace partially or even completely the traditional focus on the cost. As John Fitzgerald Kennedy said, GDP measures everything except that which gives real value to life. Tourism will strengthen its focus on the ethics and will become more demanding in areas such as sustainability and responsibility, which themselves will be more important to the world's citizens. According to the United Nations, the world's urban population is expected to increase by 61% up to 2030, when 5 billion people will be living in the cities. This will clearly heighten the importance of tourism as a key factor for the integral development of the cities. We will gain a greater appreciation for the spaces that are harmonious and well cared for, with nature as a priority both in terms of people's enjoyment of it as well as active citizens' personal commitment to its protection and conservation. These potential trend factors will require a clear alignment of the interest of the both businesses and tourism destinations. Therefore, we ask, how can we progress in these environments and take advantage of the clear opportunities for tourism in the future? We certainly do not have a magic solutions, but allow me to present some possible ideas for how this can be done. That is, by facing the world with an open mind. The tourism industry today requires a workforce that has an open mind with digital capabilities and intercultural skills, with an ability to easily discover and interpret the intersection of disciplines and different visions of the world, and to properly interpret the relevant context. Then comes by transforming information into knowledge and applying the best available knowledge management. Tourism is an information intensive sector, but also one which consistently lacks an adequate transferal of knowledge through its many components. There is then a clear need for the tools and systems that properly coordinate and manage the knowledge available, allowing it to flow along the tourism value chain. The manner and extent to which destination stakeholders exchange knowledge with each other will affect the processes of strategic change and sustainable development of these destinations. As we shall see in this module, nowhere is the need for the accurate, reliable data to aid the decision making more obvious than in the process of establishing new air routes. By the various destination stakeholders learning to work together through an integration of the interest at all levels of the government, and with strategic planning in the medium and long term settings, limit for the development where appropriate, and conducting periodic audits and assessments. Further, we will discuss the top international destinations promoting urban tourism. First is the Athens. Athens is the historical capital of Europe, with a long history dating from the first settlement in the Neolithic age. In 1834, it became the capital of the modern Greek state, and in the 2 centuries since, it has become an attractive modern metropolis with unrivaled charm. Tourism in Athens is managed by Athens Tourism, an economic development company which was created in order to present Athens as a dynamic European metropolis and a competitive tourism and convention destination. Among its main objectives is the planning of actions for the support and promotion of the image of the Athens as an urban and congress destination via participation in the specialized exhibitions and campaigns, as well as overseeing communication and public relation policy and strategies for strengthening of tourism as a key element of city's economy. Then second is the Barcelona. With a population of more than 1.6 million inhabitants, the Barcelona is today one of the world's leading tourist, economic, trade fair, exhibitions and cultural sports centers, and a heavyweight in commerce, education, entertainment, media, fashion, science and the arts. It is a major cultural and economic center in the southwestern Europe and a growing financial center also. Barcelona is a transport hub with one of the Europe's principal ports. Barcelona's international airport handles over 34 million passengers per year, and the city has an extensive motorway network. Recently, the city has also become a hub for high-speed rail, as it has joined the new link between Spain and France, currently the second longest in the world. Then comes the Berlin. Berlin is home to renowned universities, research institutes, orchestras, museums and celebrities, as well as the host of sporting events. Its urban settings and historical legacy have made it popular location for international film productions. The city is well known for its festivals, diverse architecture, nightlife, contemporary arts, public transportation networks, and high quality of life. Berlin is also served as a continental hub for air and rail transport and is a popular tourist destination also. Then comes the Buenos Aires. On the shores of the Plata River, which is so wide that many travelers usually mistake it for the sea. Buenos Aires has a mild climate and many sunny days. The green and the wet natural landscape can be enjoyed in parks, in the surroundings, or in the enormous ecological reserve. Many tourists visit Buenos Aires for its urban environment and mostly for its plentiful cultural activities. The city with 3 million inhabitants has many neighborhoods to visit. In each one, there are bars, parks, football stadiums, museums, temples, theaters, as well as the cafes, ethnic restaurants, and bistro. Then comes the Cape Town. Cape Town is another famous city which is alive with creativity, color, sounds, and taste. While walking through the city's streets and meeting its people, you will fall in love with its natural beauty, creative freedom, and incredible spirit. Cape Town is a city where the unexpected is always just around the corner, and the beautiful province of the Western Cape lies ready to explode across the city border. Cape Town Tourism is the City of the Cape Town's official regional tourism organization, which is responsible for the destination marketing, visitor and industry services. Cape Town Tourism believes in close encounters, people as the focal point of the tourism, responsible living and immersion in the destinations and the cultures we visit. This is what gives tourism in Cape Town its unique energy and appeal. Cape Town tourism prides itself in a culture of service, excellence, and we are committed to the responsible and fair tourism and business practices. Then comes the Hong Kong. As one of the world's leading international financial centers, Hong Kong has a major capitalistic service economic characterized by low taxation and free trade, and the currency Hong Kong dollar is the eighth most traded currency in the world. The lack of space caused demand for denser constructions, which developed the city to a center for modern architecture and the world's most vertical cities. Hong Kong has one of the highest per capita incomes in the world. The population density has also led to a highly developed transportation network with public transport use exceeding 90%, the highest in the world. Hong Kong has numerous high international rankings in various aspects. For instance, its economic freedom, financial and economic competitiveness, the quality of life, human development index, etc., all are ranked highly. Then comes London. London is a leading global city with strengths in the arts, commerce, education, entertainment, fashion, finance, healthcare, media, professional services, research and development, tourism and transport, all contributing to its prominence. It is the world's leading financial centers alongside New York City and has the fifth or sixth largest metropolitan area GDP in the world depending upon the measurement. London has been described as world's cultural capital. It is the world's most visited city measured by the international arrivals and has the world's largest city airport system measured by the passenger traffic. London's 43 universities from the largest concentration of higher education in the Europe. In 2012, London became the first city to host the modern Summer Olympic Games 3 times. Then comes the Melbourne. Melbourne is the state of the Victoria's capital city and the business, administrative, cultural and recreational hub of the state. The city of Melbourne municipality covers 37.6 square kilometers and has a residential population of around 98,860 in 2011. On an average day, around 8 lakh people use the city and the Melbourne hosts over a million of international visitors each year. Melbourne is very much famous about its lifestyle. Then another city is the New York City. New York is the most populous city in the United States of America and the center of the New York metropolitan area, one of the most populous metropolitan areas in the world. The city is referred to as a New York City, the city of New York, to distinguish it from the state of New York, of which it is a part. A global powered city, New York exerts a significant impact upon commerce, finance, media, art, fashion, research, technology, education, and entertainment. Then comes the Paris. Paris, France is one of the most fascinating and romantic cities in Europe, and tourists visiting this wonderful city will find that things to see and do are almost limitless. Known as the City of the Light, the beauty of Paris is overwhelming, and its architectural and artistic heritage combined with undeniable appeal and world-class tourism to make any visit the unforgettable experience. In the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. The urban tourism as an economic growth tool requires an addition of the infrastructure that could provide the much needed attractions and accommodations world over. Private public partnerships led the way, with local governments stepping up in most cases to intimate and support the completion of the necessary facilities. As a result, entertainment districts, waterfront development, and new and refurbished public spaces, museums, stadiums, convention centers, and hotels sprung up in the cities all across the world. Thank you.